Conference. Vice Chair, North Carolina Congressman Mark Walker. Good to have you with us tonight.
Thank you, Shannon. Glad to be with you.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about former Ambassador Yovanovitch's testimony that we expect to see tomorrow. In Real Clear Politics, they say this. They're asking, will her testimony help the Dems or the GOP? Say, Democrats believe Yovanovitch will put a more human face on the drama when she testifies Friday. Former ambassador broke down in tears during her private deposition in Congress last month, and commentators are openly speculating that at least part of her role is to be emotional, so that people can feel sympathetic. They're hoping that stands in contrast to Wednesday, which was pretty dry for a lot of folks. But listen, if she connects with people with that emotion, do you think that could change the story?
Well, anything's possible, but I will tell you this, the Democrats need something to be able to change or alter the course of what we saw this just yesterday. But as far as handling professional, I know Elise Stefanik and John Ratcliffe will treat her with the utmost respect, but it's important to remember that these State Department officials do not serve their own agenda, they serve at the pleasure of the president.
Well, do you think that this is what we've talked about, a dispute over policy versus being worried that there was something treasonous or legally and ethically wrong going on? Because he's the commander-in-chief, whether you like it or not. Where does the line get drawn?
There's two parts of this. There's the process, which is obviously flawed with Adam Schiff leading it, and there's the substance part of it. Both of them, we believe that the Republicans have the high end or the high road in this. When you look at this hearing and you have your two-star witnesses, the Democrats even changed the rules to give Adam Schiff the first couple of hours. With all due respect to REO Speedwagon, who heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend, you've been messing around. This fell flat. They know it. They need something to hopefully recorrect this. And then on top of this, you've got Nancy Pelosi potentially leading an impeachment vote on December 20th, 5 days before Christmas. They're leaking oil bad, and they need something to try and salvage it.
So for the issue of heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend, and REO Speedwagon had many fantastic hits in the 80s. This is what the House Speaker says about that. She says that is a phony argument. Here's her take.
Don't fall into the secondhand stuff, really. That is such a fraudulent proposition put forth by the Republicans.
She says that doesn't matter. There's so many people corroborating and saying the same thing, and it all gets back to this transcript that came out and this call that came out. It doesn't matter if you want to argue against hearsay.
Well, there are a lot of people saying the same thing unless you count the Ukrainian officials. They're saying a completely different thing. This process, Shannon, didn't start with a whistleblower in Ukraine. This is something that Adam Schiff's been leading for nearly 3 years. He promised the American people on live television he had evidence of Russian collusion. This is a witch hunt that's based out of emotion, not out of facts. And we think, we're already seeing the numbers, it's going to backfire. And I believe the Democrats, because they've based these decisions in emotion and not the facts, I believe it's going to walk them off the cliff.
What do you think, though, about the fact that the Speaker is now using the word bribery? That's actually in the Constitution. They had gotten some advice, and we've read the articles, and the people out there saying, quit using quid pro quo. It's Latin. People don't really get it. They get the word bribery. She says they are now laying the case for that, making the case for that. That's a little bit more concrete for some people.
Well, if they can change the terminology, but if you have President Zelensky and President Trump, along with these other Ukrainian officials, saying, yeah, there's no quid pro quo, there's no bribery. In fact, we didn't even know that aid was not being delivered on the time and process that we thought. How is it a bribery if the other party has no idea that they're being bribed? And that's part of the flawed argument that the Democrats have continued to make. And like I said, I think this is going to be damaging to them. Here's the question, Shannon, is that two Democrats have already crossed the picket line on just the inquiry impeachment vote. So the question might be, how many more Democrats will join every single Republican in blocking this and getting back to do the work of the American people?
Well, we know there are 31, I think, by our Chad Pergram's count over there on the Hill, 31 Democrats who were in districts that President Trump won. It's going to be a tough vote for them, possibly to take.
And one of the Democrats just said yesterday, this is all hearsay, so we'll see how many continue to break.
Okay. Congressman, great to have you with us. We'll
Always
be watching tomorrow.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks.